trying to get changed from Friday. So I apologise.
What were you doing on Friday?
Stinky. Well, I think I was doing something called OBR. And I can see some OBR people in the audience. Yay!
Yes.
Okay. So, hello everyone, and welcome to this first Prim Perfect talk at the Home and Garden Expo 2020. There's going to be a series of talks. I'll be putting up the full details later. They should be happening either at 2 p.m. or 5 p.m. most days. So keep watching the blog and the details will be appearing very soon. So I'm delighted that I'm starting today with Kes Crystal, who's a very old friend, and Dell, who is another friend who I've got to know through the Bloggy and the Blogger and Blogger Awards.
Hello. Less of the old, thank you.
I just want you to know that I didn't take the jab, and I wanted to. I just want to point that out.
Okay, and today we're going to be talking about Seraphim, which is, as you guys say, the most popular event and marketing second life. And I wonder if you can tell me a little about it, how it got started, and how you guys got involved.
Well, Seraphim started almost 8 years ago now, actually. Almost 9 years ago, 2011, July 2011. It was started by a woman named Vix Thibodeau. And it was started, and I can't remember for the life of me the name of the blog that she was working for. Other people probably remember, because I wasn't really around yet. Right. And then she broke off from that because she felt like it was very kind of a negative space, and decided to create a blog that was based on nothing but objectivity. There's no editorial, there's no opinion. It's just what you see is what you get at the event. Back then there were like 4 events. One of them was like the original Collab 88, the Seahole. 50 Linden Friday had just started up. There was a couple of others here and there. It was a long time ago. I came on 7 years ago working for Vix as a blogger, and kind of just fell in love with everything we were doing, and really liked kind of growing, watching the marketplace grow. That's when all these events started popping up. And it was really kind of fun to see what was lasting, what wasn't lasting, new designers were emerging, all kinds of things were happening, and I really loved the shopping experience. So Vix ended up having a child in real life, and that, as we all know, anybody who has a kid, like, your attention for SL diminishes quite a bit when you have an entire other human.
Yeah.
So she had to go. And I just kind of stepped up. She taught me her ways, and then kind of cultivated it over the years. And took in another partner, Heidi, who she was my partner for several years at Seraphim, and we were kind of building business and getting into different events and providing the guides that we possibly could for shoppers. And then her real life also took her away last year. And I mean, I really immediately went to Kes. She kind of didn't understand what I was saying to her at the time. And then a few months later, I came back and was like, okay, let's talk. Like, and she more ready at that point. That's kind of where we are now.
Brilliant. So, Kes, what tempted you to come on board with Seraphim?
Well, as Dell said, the first time that she talked to me about it, and most of the second time that she talked to me about coming on board, I didn't actually get what she was asking. She didn't come straight out and ask me. What she asked me was, did I know anyone that I thought would make a good co-owner? So I start coming out with these names. She's going, no, not them. No, not them. And it wasn't until I think we were a good 10 minutes into the conversation that I went, hold on, are you asking me if I want to do it? So I was like completely naive to it. I mean, Seraphim, Dale and I have worked together before. Obviously, we started BVN. We were involved in another project together. So we've worked on probably 3 or 4 projects. And when you work with somebody very closely in SL, you either click or frictions start to happen. And Dell and I have never had any issue. We can disagree on things, but we have always been able to talk through them, compromise, share the same ethic around work ethic, and we're just naturally on the same page usually about most things. So that was part of the draw to work with Daryl again. Secondly, I already owned a website called mainstoresl.com. And Main Store was about promoting everything that happened in Main Stores, and Dell had helped me a lot getting that off the ground a couple of years ago. So obviously Seraphim did everything to do with events, and my website did everything to do with what was going on within an actual store itself, so new releases, group gifts, little mini store hunts, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And merging with Seraphim would give us the opportunity to give Main Stores. It was obvious that we were going to merge the 2 sites and gain a whole new audience for Seraphim, and really be able to help Main Stores a lot more than we had been able to do. Although my little site was doing quite well, it was a fraction of the traffic that and the pairs of eyes that Seraphim gets every day. So that was another opportunity. And Seraphim is the best. It is absolutely the best shopping resort. So altogether, the scope of the opportunity to make a real difference and to work with Dell again was too good to say no to, really.
So how does it work? I mean, do you take feeds, or do you have people actually writing the individual posts on Seraphim?
We have an amazing team of people who are dedicated. They stay up all night. It's amazing what these people do. They take, we tend to think of blogging as, fashion or decor bloggers who create a scene, create a story. And they're amazing. Very, very creative. But because our objective in our niche has always been to be fact-based and very objective, it requires people to be on site to get the facts, to take the photos so that readers and shoppers are seeing exactly what it looks like. It's not touched up, it's not photoshopped, nothing. We just add a watermark to the photo, that is it. So they're able to see exactly what something looks like, at least on the shelf.
Right.
And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of work. It takes hours for, some of these events. And the bigger it is, the longer it takes, and the harder you have to work, and the more moving pieces there are. So we're very fortunate to have giant team of people now who are just as dedicated to serving this community as we are.
You sell advertising too, don't you? I guess that's quite important for turnover and supporting people?
Yeah, we do. But this is, we were just talking about this last night. One of the biggest myths about Seraphim is that event coverage is charged for, and it's not. The actual coverage of the event. So we try to distinct very clearly between what is event coverage and what is advertising.
Right.
So event coverage, so what Dale's talking about, so a blogger going to the event, staying there for hours, taking all the photos, writing all the posts, that is free of charge.
Right.
And that's our content. That's what we put on our blog as our content, and that's our content is free.
Mm-hmm.
And then we sell additional advertising to people that want to bolster their event coverage with extra advertising. So we have just 2 spots a day in terms of extra advertising. We have a banner ad and we have a widget ad, and then we have sidebar ads down the side of the page.
Mm.
And we do charge for those because obviously they've got a value. We have a lot of traffic. We have a lot of people to page, so they have a value to them. But also, you know, we are a business, and we have staff to pay for, other costs to pay for. So the advertising basically is you know how is our business model.
Right. I was looking at the website. I've got it up. So your banner for today would be quarten. No, your banner is Enchantment Princess Bride, isn't it?
Yes.
Then you've got a large ad for equal 10. Is that your other ad, big ad for today?
Sorry, I turned my mic off. Yeah, the one in the top right-hand corner that's square, that's the widget. And the widget, they can have, it's really good value actually, because they get the flyer, the picture, and then they get up to 500 characters of text. So they can talk about their event or their store or whatever. And then they get up to 3 links, which is a link to the gallery if we're covering the event, and then a teleport to their main store if they want it, a teleport to a link to either, you know, their own website or their own gallery or whatever. So that's really good value. And then the banner ad is just the banner.
Right. But nice positioning.
Yes. Yeah, all there at the top.
And I believe you also have a HUD. You're still doing a HUD?
No, we don't have a HUD, no, at the moment. That was discontinued, Dale, about a year ago.
Oh yeah, I think maybe 2 at this point.
Yeah.
We had some flaws in the design, and it was a really good learning lesson for us. So, you know, we were thankful that we were able to do it, but it wasn't sustainable, unfortunately. But there may be talks about a HUD coming, but I don't know if I want to say anything else.
It's all that scripty sort of stuff, isn't it?
It gets very, confusing.
Yeah.
Very complicated.
So the thing is, we've had a lot of people that want the, you know, when the HUD stopped, I mean, I didn't work for Seraphim then, but when the HUD stopped, even people, like my friends were like, I really miss the Seraphim HUD, I really miss the Seraphim HUD, and they've talked to us a lot, and we still, 2 years later, getting people asking if the HUD would come back. So, you know, we do listen, and it's something that, you know, as part of our strategy meetings, we talk about things that we might like to do in the future, and it's something that comes up for discussion, but that's probably about all that we can say at the moment.
People still ask me when we're doing season 3 of the Black and Mirror. And that was 2011, so they don't forget.
No.
They really don't forget. They have elephantine memories in Second Life.
Ooh, elephantine. Ooh.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you do, however, have a video channel, which we're being recorded for right now. Yes? Or is that something different?
Yeah, no, we are streaming to the Seraphim YouTube channel. It's not something we've done an awful lot of, but we thought this was a good opportunity today to get that up and running. We've looked at videos and video content for events before now, but we also did a little video promo on our Facebook page last week. So again, it's one of those medias that if we can find the right way to use it for the business, then we will. But it's not a huge part of what we do at the moment.
So have you got any more other plans for sort of expanding now that or are you just kind of moving into a period when you consolidate, bringing the two sides together, the main store and the events?
It seems like every time Kes and I talk, when it's just she and I, we come up with more plans. We have Seraphim's growing, and it's actually something that we talk about frequently. Is, people very, very often discuss how the grid is shrinking and how we're losing people from SL, and we can attest to the fact that, yes, we know that numbers are declining as far as number of people logging in on a regular basis, but the people that are logging in are spending more than ever. They are shopping more than ever. Last year alone, in 1 year, we had 10 million hits to our website. Yeah. So these are people, this is the shopping public. This is, in SL. These are the people. They're substantiating the site. They're substantiating all these stores. Yeah, it's a lot. There's like a lot of commerce going on. So what we're losing in events and designers and shoppers and bloggers and everybody who makes the economy go. What we're losing in sheer quantity of logins, we're gaining in frequency of purchases. So the SL economy, while the numbers are going down in logins, the SL economy is growing.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk recently about what's happening with Sansar, and
Yes.
But Second Life seems very strong to me. I mean, something like that is one strength. Another strength is how you can see people getting into Belisaria and the new Linden homes.
Yeah, I think the Linden homes have been absolutely genius, and that's opened up a new marketplace as well. I mean, there were a lot of designers that were making things specifically as add-ons for Linden homes, very, very smartly, if you ask me. So that brought in a whole new market for them, and they're so popular. I mean, people are still trying to get Linden homes from the last batches of them, and haven't been able to. I know we've had this discussion before. Yes. I've got mainland, so I've never tried, but I heard it's horrendous trying to get like where you want the type of house that you want and where you want it. So that's another area where what I think Linden did there was finally found a benefit of a Second Life Premium that people feel is a benefit. Because the trouble is, up till now, they've all been benefits that Linden have said, oh, this is a benefit to you. And most of us have gone, not really, it's not. It's 300 Lindens a week or whatever. That's not really, what can I do with that? You know? Yeah. So that so they were doing all these things and saying it's a benefit, but it's only a benefit if the person receiving it sees the benefit in it. And with the homes, what they actually did was finally struck on something that everyone agreed was an actual bloody benefit. So that's why it's taken off so well, and why it will help to convert residents who have been here a long time and never premium to premium users.
I've got mainland, but I ended up splitting it to get and getting a trailer. I mean, I'd only ever had half my mainland on a Linden home, so when they released the trailers, I was able to get a trailer and keep my little cafe in the boondocks.
I can't see you living in a trailer, Safia. I'm sorry.
Oh, you need to come over and see it. It's it's an incredibly elegant trailer.
Sure it is.
You know, in America, at least, every trailer park is called estates. So, like, if you pass a place and it's like, river estates, it might be a trailer park, right? So you should just name your place like Wittershan's Estates.
I could.
You should.
But that title has been taken by my place in Caledon. I have a little shed in Caledon where I keep an old printing press, which we tell people we used to print the Primgraph on, which was a magazine.
But the kind of thing that the Lindens are doing now with the Linden homes is the kind of thing that me and Dale talk about all the time. It's like, what else can we do that the designers and event owners will see as a benefit?
Yes.
And will be beneficial to them, but they'll actually understand the value and see the benefit in doing it.
I think one of the key things, and I think that some of the Lindens have been aware of this for a long time and have tried to work on it, is that it's the whole Belisaria thing has created initially a community of Belisarians, but there are actually now subsets within it, like the Belisarian mermaids and the Belisarian tinies and the Belisarian horse riders, so that you're actually building communities as much as you're building landscapes. Although I don't think the hardworking moles would necessarily agree with that. They think they're just building houses. Well, so you said that you're trying to think of things that would benefit designers to help Seraphim grow. Can you give me an example of the sort of things you're thinking about? Or have thought of that in the past?
Well, I mean, we've introduced it as part of the merger, is the 3 new pages that we've done. So when we brought over Main Store and did the merger as of 1st of February, what we actually did was split. We started 3 new pages, and they are, I better get these titles right now. They are the Main Store Shop Around, which is the page for all Main Store releases. So if it's a new release or a group gift or something that you are doing that's new in your Main Store, we have a page that is boosted once a week on a Friday. It's updated every day with new releases, so that people can see what's new on the grid that's not part of an event.
Right.
And they can say, oh look, there's a new dress at Narcisse. That's one of the ones this week, or a new release at Dead Dolls, who are the sponsor for that page. They can go and look and buy that dress, and there's been nothing, I mean, Main Store was there before. But as I say, the amount of traffic that we had in terms of hits per day was a fraction of what Seraphim gets. We then started another page, which was sales. That's the sales checklist, super sales checklist. Did I get that one right? And that is in-store sales. So if Vagrant, for example, who's the sponsor of that page, has a 50% off gift card sale or like that goes on that page. And again, that's updated daily. What we're trying to do is encourage people to bookmark the page and then go back and look and see what's new every day. Because most people, but the feedback that we get from a lot of people is like Seraphim's part of their daily routine. It's like get up, get the kids to school or whatever, get a cup of coffee and sit down and look at what's new on Seraphim. We're trying to make sure that there is new content for them and a platform for the designers. And then the third one that we have is the Hunt and Games page, which is again updated daily if needed, and has new content about games and hunts that are happening across Second Life, and that one's sponsored by Madpy. So
sorry, I was just going to ask, do you cover gachas in that as well, or do you not worry about gachas?
We have some gacha events that are recurring. So like, whatever, like arcade opens, every 3 months. Like we put a post up about that. There's a couple others that we put posts up about. Yeah, they're not, you're right. Thank you, Cassie. They're not in the game section because we consider them shopping events. We don't consider them games.
Right.
And if somebody did a new release, but did a new release in their store as a gacha, it would go in the main store page. Right. Because it's still a new release at their store.
That's interesting because obviously there's an element of chance in gachas.
Yes, but it's still not a game. It's not a game is an experience. It's a form of entertainment. Gachas, I think, generally are accepted as shopping by the vast majority of our audience.
Right.
And tell me if you guys, if you think I'm wrong, but I think that's what people think of them as shopping.
Yeah, let's canvass the audience. How many people think that gachas are shopping?
Yeah.
Yeah, because money is exchanges hands. Yeah.
And that's not to say that I mean, some say Mappy are the sponsors, and I think Mappy still charge, a nominal fee for their hunts and a bigger fee for their games, but you're paying for an experience. You're paying for your entertainment for that few hours or that week it takes you to complete their game or to complete their hunt. Whereas a gacha, it's all over in a few minutes. Once you've got what you want,
you hope it's over in a few minutes, and you're not there for 3 hours, pushing 50 Lindens in all the time. Yeah. Okay, so with the gachas, they go into shopping events. Do you feel that there are too many events?
No, absolutely not. I think I gotta be honest, like I really do. Do I shop every single event that comes under my nose? I couldn't possibly. Like I wouldn't have time to sleep. Like it would be crazy. And I don't think any one person could. You go to okay, Stevie would. You go to the events that capture your interest. Like I'm probably not going to go to a men's event because I'm not a man and I don't have a malt. So
Right.
it's just not of interest to me. But I do go sometimes because I want a piece of furniture, or I want, something that is out for somebody else, or I'll buy a gift or whatever. But it's not on my frequent list.
Right.
So, but the thing that's really interesting to me is as these new events keep coming up, they're all taking just a little bit of a different way of doing their thing. They're incorporating a theme that isn't really prevalent. They're doing a common theme, but they're doing it this way that's new and different and interesting. And every time they do that, it changes my perspective.
Right.
And that's, to me, what SL at the end of the day is really about. Is we come together, a group of people, probably 99% of us would never have met otherwise.
Right.
And we help each other create varying experiences because everything in here is user driven.
Yeah.
So we all complement each other. So to me, in my eyes, the more events, the better, because it will enhance my experience in a platform that I clearly love or still wouldn't be here.
And also, I mean, when you asked that question, I was like, that's like asking the owner of an ice cream factory if he thinks the weather's too warm too often. It's like, we're the ice cream factory. We want people to come to us for their ice creams. So, so no, we don't think there's too many. But going back to, I think it's something that also we should get across, because we do get asked this, is about which events we cover. And we don't cover every event that applies to us, because we have a limited number of these amazing bloggers that stay up all night and stuff like that. So we physically can't cover every event that applies. And one of the things, if anybody's out there thinking, I'd like to start a new event, one of the things that I would say to them that Dale and I both look at is, what is different when they apply? What is different about their event that somebody else isn't doing? What's the hook? What's the what makes this unique?
Selling point.
Yeah, so that when we're making, if we say, oh, there's nothing doing this, nothing like this currently happening on the grid, then that increases the chance that we'll be able to cover it.
I mean,
can you give me
what? I'm sorry, Safi, but just one point. The thing that I think that people need to remember is that not one of us, including me, came to Seraphim because Seraphim approached them. Right. Every single one of us were shoppers. We were readers. We were fans of the page. Every single one of us. So we're constantly remembering and looking at this from like what would I want to see? What would I want? What increased conveniences would I want as a shopper? What do I wish that somebody would tell me about this in an objective, fact-based way? What do I want to know? And how do I want it delivered to me? And that's a conversation we have got almost daily, probably, about varying things.
So can you give me an example of a specific event that caught your eye and you decided to add it because of its originality?
There's been one fairly recently, isn't there, Dale? That's going to be, I don't think it's opened yet, it's going to be a unisex event. And because there's very few of those, that was what made us go, oh, let's have a look, let's look at more detail at this. I mean, I'm not saying it would be the only reason. There would be a number of factors, like, the opening time of the event, what staff resources we had, the quality, is it going to be something that our readers are going to look at and go to? And then, all of those things go into the decision-making process. But something unique, something different, something that's not happening anywhere else, that will for sure get us, it's a tick in a box.
Yeah, it'll get our attention. Yeah.
There's been a lot, well, I've heard quite a lot of sort of designers talking about the stress of events and event overload, and it's certainly appeared that some designers have cut corners in order to make commitments, which rarely ends well for anyone. How do you kind of police things that you're promoting? Do you police them?
We don't. We provide fact-based information. So we're showing our shoppers and our readers exactly what is there. Our opinion of that, as bloggers, as owners, as the management team, which is incredible too, like none of our personal opinions factor into the product that we're delivering to the readers.
Right.
So if a designer has entered too many events for whatever reason, if they were fine and then their life took a left turn and now they're stressed, or there's so many factors that go into what could happen or what doesn't happen, or what we hope for versus what reality becomes, and the at the crux of Seraphim is we are one of the few places you can go to just get the deets. We're just going to give you the news. We're not going to fluff it up and pretend it's something it's not.
Right.
And as a result, we won't ever police them, because we have a very what you see is what you get kind of philosophy when we do any kind of...
I know that some event organisers have been put under pressure, sometimes almost verging on witch hunts, because this is not original mesh or whatever, but you have a policy of not getting involved on that level.
Okay, there's right, there's my soapbox. So there are a number of different issues at play in this conversation, and this is not necessarily with my Seraphim head on, but just generally as a rule of thumb. There are problems when an event is an original mesh event and somebody tries to fool the public and the event owner by putting in something that they know full well isn't original mesh. But there are lots of events out there that will allow designers who use templates or pre-built mesh and that kind of thing, and allow them into it. You just can't be in an original mesh event if you're not making original mesh. That's just like really common sense. The problem comes when people upload third-party meshes from sites like CG Trader, etc., which is against Second Life's terms of service and is against the terms of service of those websites like Turbo Squid and 3G Trader. Those are not for resale, they're not for commercial purposes, and they usually have a specific line in their terms of service that say you cannot use this in Second Life.
Right.
Because it's such a big problem that they've literally written into their TOS Second Life as a specific thing. That's when it becomes a problem. Is 2 or 3 major instances that I've seen of it is where people have uploaded third-party content, they've bought it, and they'll go, well, I bought this legally. No, you bought it, but you bought it legally if you never uploaded it into Second Life and then tried to sell it, because you broke the terms of service under which you bought it at that point, and therefore it becomes illegal to you. And that's been where the issue has been, because people have done it and then they've tried to merge it with other things, and like half of the product is original mesh and half of it isn't. So it's not about whether something's original. It's about whether you are using it in the way that it's supposed to be used. So if it's original mesh, great. If it's not original mesh and you've bought it with terms of service that allow you to use it in Second Life, I get from a third-party template provider within Second Life, and there are lots of amazing full perm creators out there that you can buy from. That's great. But it's when people try to fool the system by buying something off a third-party website for $8 and then trying to make thousands and thousands of Lindens on it by uploading it illegally into Second Life. But that's not for Seraphim to police, because our girls that go out and do the blog posts, they are expert shoppers and expert bloggers. They are not experts in 3D mesh and what is, the offer of the week on 3G Trader. That's not their job to know that. The one area where we do in Seraphim look out for things is copyright infringement. If we see a blatant copyright infringement, like a Disney logo or something like that, we don't put it on site.
Right. That's very clear.
I'll step off my soapbox now.
I think it's a soapbox that you've had a bit of difficulty getting on with, because I know there are several people here who feel as strongly as you do.
Well, and at the end of the day, we don't work for the designers, we work for the events.
Right.
And we have to rely on the event teams to maintain the integrity of their events in the way that they see that it needs to be maintained. It's not our job to tell them, what they should and shouldn't be doing. Yes. But, it is our job to protect our assets, and we're not going to promote the misuse of items either. So
yes, I think the copyright issue is a really important one, because that could be disastrous for so many people.
Yeah, and it sometimes is really obvious, and sometimes less. I mean, I saw a couple of weeks ago lots of people, and I completely understand why people wanted to make replica Kobe Bryant shirts, and I get that, but the Lakers logo is copyright.
Right.
And everything else that was on these shirts is copyright. So I get that people want to do that in SL, but it's not legal.
Right. So something to be aware of, everyone. So I'm going to ask, we're coming up to the top of the hour, I'm going to ask if anyone in the audience has a question for the Seraphim people. Like, how do you get 10 million viewers? Wow!
Oh, I wanted to add something to that as well, that backed up what Dale was saying about the fact that the economy and the site is still growing. That she said right at the start, Seraphim's been going since, was it 2011? You said.
Yeah.
So 9 years. That 10 million represented 20% of the entire views Seraphim has had since 2011.
Yeah.
So that's how much. That's how it's still growing in 2019 and into 2020.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we do, and we do very, very well, frankly, is maintain statistics. And we can see areas, where things are growing, and we can see different different trends kind of emerge here and there, and we're excited to be able to bring that out and be like, you guys, look, because what it is really is that Seraphim, we're being like, like, oh my god, the shirt's super cute. Here, did you see this shirt? Like how everyone passes like the cards around for FLF and Saturday sale, and and they're like, here, these are the ones that you should get.
Mm.
That's what we do. We're like, the whole audience of Seraphim, all the readers, were like, dude, did you see this? That's basically what we're doing, just a bazillion times. And that's why people are making us a tab in their tabs that open when they start up their browsers. People are telling us that we hate people keep coming back, because it does feel like I know exactly the events I like. I know the designers I like. I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna look at that, and I'm gonna be able to see and narrow down what I want, because I don't want to spend a ton of time doing this, because my experience in SL is actually elsewhere. Not everybody is like their primary experience is the actual act of shopping. And also, let's not forget, lag is always. But we can't do anything about that. We can only minimize it, eliminate it.
And you say that just going back, I was looking at the link from Redwrath. I haven't looked at your avatar. I don't know if you're a male avatar, but that's one of the things that right, okay. But one of the things that we look at, we see that a lot of guys come to Seraphim because generally, I don't want to generalize for the guys that are here too much, but they don't like shopping as much as women, strangely enough. So they like to go to Seraphim so they can see very specifically what is for them, and then go and shop, and then they share that.
He's a super not average guy, and I mean that in the best possible way. Like, I love Nick, but he's not the average shopper. Male shopper is really not.
I had a male friend that would never actually went to an event or a shop unless he knew what he was going to get, and if he could buy it on Marketplace, he would buy it on Marketplace without ever leaving home. If he had to go, he was in and out like bling.
One thing that seems to me a huge favour that you're doing for Second Life is that you're actually directing people into Second Life as opposed to shopping on the Marketplace. Would you agree?
Yeah, we like the Second Life experience. If we didn't like the experience, we wouldn't still be here.
Right.
And there's tens of thousands of people who still enjoy. You guys right here, right now, you're here because you like the experience. So, and anyone listening to this, it's all going to be the same. We're all going to be the same. There's stuff about it we like.
Look, you might be here because we're doing a draw for Apple Fall gift card, but it's still part of the
furnish your house with the experience.
But then if you're going to get something from Apple Fall, if you're fortunate enough to win, you're going to actually buy stuff for your home, and you're going to nest, you're going to furnish your home or your garden, possibly.
And most of us experience Second Life, at least in my experience, most of us experience Second Life, the actual gifts of it, in our homes, in other people's homes, on land, in experiences that have been created. So this is, we like this. So why wouldn't we want people to continue to engage in it?
Absolutely. I can remember Frauke Herrenbeek of Dutchy telling me how incredibly proud she was when she bought a copper that was the image of the Second Life bath she designed. I'm saying that to Tiny all that.
Sorry, you cut out for me a bit then. What did you say?
I was saying, Frauke, Herrenbeek,
Yeah.
or Duchy. She told me how proud she was that she was able to buy a bath, a copper bath, that was really her bath in Second Life, the one she designed herself. And she actually got one that was the image of it, and she was so pleased. I bet it didn't come with all those postables. I bet she had to do the work.
I would argue sometimes.
See, that's got an image in my head that I didn't want now.
Yeah.
To be fair, because I know some of those animations intimately. I mean, to be fair, some of them you drown, so I would suggest she doesn't.
Yeah, and some of them you could end up giving birth at the end of it. It really does look like you've gone into labour.
Oh my god! You guys
Actually not
continue to buy Duchy products even though these two are scaring you. She's a nice lady.
Actually, that wasn't a Duchy thing. A friend of mine bought a shower and we tried out some of the positions in it, both fully closed and with the water off.
Yeah, fully closed. Who put that in air quotes?
They had the water off. It was fine. Nothing was going to happen. The water wasn't on.
Okay. So does anyone have any questions for Seraphim here?
You could really ask us anything. We're fun. We're very open.
Ask Dale what her favourite word is. Because she hasn't said it yet. So in our team meetings we have a drinking game. Well, I do.
Ooh, that's a good question, Nora. Go finish your story though.
I'll finish my story. So there's a word that Dale says quite a lot. And when I joined the Seraphim team last year, during our team meetings, I started a drinking game where every time she says this word, I shout drink. And I don't know whether the others are joining in. It's not on camera, but I am. And it makes the meetings go quicker.
Right, let's go with this question. Where do you see Seraphim in 5 years?
I mean, I think we really see Seraphim on a beach in Fiji. No.
Running a little beach bar.
Yeah, exactly. Pertinent, Rye. Pertinent. I say everything's pertinent.
Drink 3 times.
Okay. What?
I'm sorry. So
where do you see it? Where do you see it 5 years?
Oh, we have so many big projects that we're working on. I do not want to talk about it. We have irons in many different fires right now. In 5 years, I think that, I think we'll still be valuable to the SL shoppers, and I think that we will be increasingly convenient, easier to use as time goes on.
And that traffic will have doubled, at least.
Oh yeah, I mean we're predicting just this year, just in 2020, we're pretty much already on track. Even or we predicted like a 7% growth, big, and that's kind of what we get year over year. But just because of the growth from last year, we're really looking at like 12%. So that would be almost 11.5 million this year.
Wow.
So, yeah.
But that's why I said to you right at the beginning that the advertising has a value. Because one of the principles is that the event coverage, the content is free and always will be free. The event coverage will be free. We will make our business out of the additional advertising that we can sell around that content. And we won't go mad, because we're already quite conscious of the fact that, it's already quite a busy page and people want the event information, and that's what they go there for. So we have the sidebar ads and the banner and the widget. But I think what we've seen this year, which has been really interesting since I've come on board, is that even before main store merged, we've seen that stores have realised that just because they're a store and not an event doesn't mean that they can't buy advertising. And they're still going to get the benefit of the 30,000 people, 30,000 views a day that Seraphim's getting, whether they're in an event or not. So we've got one advertiser in particular who's a store, a brand. They take a widget ad, and they'll either advertise something that is in an event and put the teleport to event as the button on that widget, or something that's happening in their main store. And they've realised that it's a benefit to them as an individual brand to advertise, because it doesn't matter whether they're in an event or not, it's still 30,000 hits a day seeing their advert and seeing their brand.
Right. So Dawny has asked, what would be on your list of wants? Is there anything that you'd like to achieve?
Do you mean
apart
for the site or personally, or?
I think I would say the list of wants could be for Second Life. Is there something you would really like to see in Second Life?
Wow. It's.
I've got something just on a personal, not anything to do with Seraphim. I would really like to see the marketplace fit for purpose, in terms of being able to search for things that I want. You can't even search by mesh, on Second Life. I do not, when I want to find a dress, need to see 72 pages of flexi dresses from 2007. When I look at Marketplace, I want to look at the mesh dresses that have come out in the last 6 months, and I want really specific search terms to be able to really drill down to get what I want. I would love Marketplace to be so much more functional than it is.
Yeah.
That's what I would want.
What about you, Del? Is there anything like that you would want?
I would really like more consolidation of what is even out there. I think that very often, I hear things like, oh, the furry community is really huge, and this is really big, and have you ever heard of this? And I don't experience that. And I think it's just fascinating what people creatively come up with in here. I don't care what community you're in, there's always going to be drama, there's always going to be garbage, right? But if you take all that out, you look around, and we're even in an environment here where we've recreated a human experience.
Yes.
Why? Why do we tend to do that? And listen, I work in mental health. This is a whole thing for me. But why do we choose what we choose, and what else is out there in a paradigm and in a imagination that I haven't thought of? What else? So because people are so unique and creative and interesting.
I'll give you an example of how we kind of attach to the human experience without even thinking of it. Because I'm interviewing you guys now, and we've built a theatre for that, for the interviews, and we're sitting down. No need to sit down. Our typists are sitting down, presumably, but we also feel more comfortable as avatars when we sit down. And our audience is sitting down too. Again, There's no need for them to sit. They could be standing up. We could all be standing in a field and doing this. But it feels kind of right to be in this.
And that's exactly it.
scenario.
So how do I find out, other than using the destination guide, which we know is, not perfect. I don't know how they would organize it better. I don't have ideas for that, but it could use a spruce. But we're, instead of using that, like, what else is out there? How do you find out about other experiences? How do you find out about other worlds that have been created? And why have them been created?
It's a problem, and I think we're going to do a Designing World show on this sooner rather than later. But there's a kind of diversity of news in Second Life. If you want to get a message out, it's really, really hard to do. If that's... Yeah.
It is. I know, obviously, my background is in Second Life marketing and social media and things, and you have to get a message out to as wide a population as possible. You need to cover so many bases and different channels, and really look at who your target market is and advertise in a specific way that they're going to see it. It's something Dale and I have been talking about recently, because regular shoppers use Seraphim. Some of you have even showed us your favourites bar, with Seraphim on it, and they use it. But there are a lot of people, even with us getting 10 million views in a year, we know that there are a lot of people out there that still don't know of Seraphim, that don't use it, and maybe because they don't shop us regularly. So we've been looking at how we market Seraphim to those people. And it's a real challenge, because they're not using the traditional platforms that we market Seraphim on.
Yeah, it is a real challenge. I'm probably going to put a show together, and if you guys would like to be on it, I think that would be really interesting to have you.
Sure. As long as it fits into our, because we both, work. So as long as it fits into our, and she's in the future and I'm in the present.
Okay.
So that doesn't always work.
We'll work something out. I've got an interesting comment from Christiana here. I found out more about merfolk and tinies because I met some of them at Belisaria. I think a common ground such as the Linden homes helps to meet people from different communities.
Oh, you know what, Christiana, you're probably so right. I think, like experiences like that where you are kind of bringing people together. My experience so far with my Linden home has not been that pleasant. I have like a sex dungeon or something living next to me, and it's very interesting. But whatever, I'm there to change.
I'll swap with you.
Okay. Does Seraphim have an in-world location? Not currently, but one is coming. I will tell you that. I'm not going to tell you when, because we actually have to build it and have time to do that. But it'll be here before
Christmas.
Fall. Yeah, it'll be here before Christmas. Maybe Santa will bring it.
Right, so we've kind of done our full hour, even though we started late. Does anyone have any last questions? Yes, go on, Drew.
Oh, there was another question from Christiana earlier on, by the way.
Oh, right, I missed that.
And let me copy and paste it for you. Chat. so it's at the front of the chat.
As a store owner, what type of fee would I be expected to pay for an ad about my store? Teresa asks.
Oh, Teresa, we have, I mean, Cass is really the ad expert, but we have things going from 1,000L to 10,000L. It just depends what exactly you're looking for. But we're not that expensive, so I'll let Cass get into kind of the details of it.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say, we have a page. If you go to Seraphim, there's a page at the top that says advertising that has all the different options on there. One of the things that I think often when I talk to people about it is really think about what you want to get from it, because there's direct response advertising and then there's branding advertising, if you like. Your sidebar ads are really sort of about branding. It's about getting your logo in front of people. It's about that subliminal advertising, so people are scrolling up and down the page and they see your logo or they see your brand on the right hand side almost without even realizing they see it, and then when they want something that you do, they go, oh, I remember there's a brand on Seraphim that I've seen as I've been scrolling, and they go back to it and they click on it and go to your store or go to your Facebook page or go to your website or whatever URL that you're using there. The widget and the banner, the widget ad is currently 10,000 for 3 days. It works out just over 3,000 per day, but you have to buy it for 3 days at a time. And the banner advert is 3,000 for a day. And those are really more direct response, and you can also put lots more on the actual ad itself. So for example, we had somebody recently who advertised a specific outfit that was on sale for 50% off that day, and they used a banner ad to do that. And as I said, we mentioned we've got a store that takes a widget quite often to do various things to push people to an event that they're in, or to push people to their main store for gift card sales and that kind of thing. What I would say is we announced about 6 weeks ago that we've got a rate increase on the 1st of March. It's the first time we've put our rates up in 2 years, but we're getting so much. As I say, 20% of Seraphim's traffic was last year. It was 10 million. Mentioned that a couple of times now. So we feel like a rate increase is justified because we haven't done it for a few years. But if anybody books advertising and pays for it by the 29th of February, regardless of when the ad appears, so you could book an ad for December, then we hold the price at the current price.
Jam tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was, Christiana's question.
Right.
I didn't hit enter, apparently.
So, Christiana, it's awesome that you asked this question, actually. I think that yes and no is the answer. I think that event-driven sales did take over the grid, and I think that they remain dominant. I do believe that we wanted one-stop shopping. We wanted malls. We wanted to be able to go to one place, buy basically everything we wanted, try on a bunch of different outfits, redo our houses, and be done. So we kind of got that. We kind of got what we asked for. And then we were like, remember when you used to go shopping in a store? And we still wanted those store, individual, small town kind of. We wanted to be able to have that experience of strolling a street and popping into one store as best we can, which is teleporting. We wanted to go to the one location instead of, the mall. And it doesn't mean that the malls don't serve their purpose. because they do, and they're incredible. They bring together some amazing things, but we do still like the more individual. That's where we want to go with our girlfriends or our guy friends or whatever. That's what we want. And we're more apt to say, oh, I'm going to go to Vagrant or I'm going to go to Dead Dolls or whatever, because that's the store that we know that, fits us great, or that they have the type of furniture I like, or they have these cool games that I like to play. I wonder if a new one. That's the experience that we want to have. So I do think that yes, the short answer is yeah, events took over. Events are still dominant. I think there's a shift. I think we are starting to see a shift back to some store stuff. I don't think that means by any stretch that events are dying. But I do think that events are focused a bit more on how to get the shopper back into the store to give us that kind of cozy, comfortable feeling than fighting the crowd at the mall.
I think it's about balance. The designers that I speak to don't want to do all of one or all of the other. They would like to be in a couple of events a month and maybe do one store release a month and do one group gift a month and maybe a sale every quarter or every 6 months. And they would like to have a strategy which allowed them to do that, to be able to have a real marketing mix to their sales strategy for their for their releases and that kind of thing. And a couple of years ago that wasn't possible because it was like, well, when all these events took off, a lot of designers didn't really nurture their VIP group much because they didn't need to. They were selling everything in events. And then what they've done is they've come back a couple of years later and said, well, I'd like to start doing in-store releases, and realised, well, how do I let people know that I've got one? Because I didn't nurture and grow my VIP group during this time in any particularly structured way. Up until 2 years ago when I started Main Store, there was no online resource that pulled all that information together about what was going on Main Stores. So they felt, I think not everyone, but I certainly think that there were some that felt a little trapped is too strong a word, but too reliant, that they were too reliant on events and not reliant enough on their own in-store strategy. And what they've done is spent about the last 2 or 3 years switching that. So you are seeing more stores. I think Dell and I have both been surprised, even with my experience with Main Store, at how many we're getting on page every day. In terms of the names and the level of store that we're getting on there. And I think it's because they now just want to get that balance.
Yes.
Well, what it does is it gives you, I'm sorry, Christiana said I can see how an in-world store keeps you grounded as a brand. What it does is it gives you an opportunity to explore your brand. So, Mad P is a real good example of that. You see that P, you know it's Mad P. They have branded that logo. But part of their branding has been sim-wide. They use consistent coloring. They use consistent experiences. They use the same kind of quality across the board. Another place that has a lot of character, I don't know if you guys have been to Yummy, to their store, Nylon Outfitters. That whole sim is just cool. And it's like just a cool aesthetic. So, the opportunity a main store provides you to really, ground your brand, but just explore and create and make it exactly what you want it to be because you set those parameters. I think that's a big draw, especially for people who are creative.
If you're, I mean, it's a little bit off subject because it's me more talking about my experience working with brands. Talking the other day, when you work I've worked in advertising in the past in real life and marketing, and one of the things that you often talk to people about is the brand Coca-Cola, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you sometimes hear people say, I don't need to, so and so brand doesn't need to advertise. Well, Coca-Cola still does advertising,
Yes.
right? Coca-Cola still does promotions, so you can get 4 bottles for the price of 3 or whatever, through your grocery store or whatever. And they still do all those things because you have to be constantly adding new customers into the top of your sales funnel.
Mm.
So even if you're the biggest brand in Second Life, you still need to be adding new people that haven't bought before or don't know who you are into the top of your sales funnel, and then bringing them through, nurturing them, getting them to be VIPs, getting them to be customers, getting them to be repeat customers, blah blah blah, and then buying your new releases, whether it's an event or a store or whatever. So you have to keep doing that. Doesn't matter how big your brand is, and smaller brands are more focused on that than some of the bigger brands. The bigger brands are the ones that I'm saying have realised that they can't just be reliant on sales events. But they will always, most of them will always still do them occasionally to get those new people into the funnel, and then they will market out to their VIP group and their social media, and then do an event once every now and again and get new people again into the top.
AJ's just said Kez is so right. Coke just had an ad in the Super Bowl with Martin Scorsese and Jonah Hill.
We could have just stopped at Kez is so right.
No, you guys don't know what you're doing.
AJ does know what she's doing.
I was right. AJ, you and I need to talk.
Okay, any more questions? I will say that in half an hour there's going to be a lantern release from the roof of this building. Yeah, that's my cat. She's very old. She's 20. She can't see very well. She can't hear very well. But she has a great pair of lungs. And she's not afraid to use them. Okay, so there will be a lantern release from the roof of this building at midnight. It's a lovely time to kind of relax and just watch the lanterns rising peacefully into the air. It costs, it's, what was I going to say? Yeah, it starts at 4 p.m. and it runs for half an hour.
See, you said midnight, and Cass just yelled at me today because I scheduled a bunch of things in my time in the present and didn't consider her time in the future. So
Right.
you're in the future too.
I am a bit in the future, yes. I shouldn't be. I should be in the past, but yeah. I'm going to do it. Come and watch the lanterns. They're very pretty. Okay, well, I want to say thank you to Kez and for participating in this. And you'll notice that I've cunningly snaffled them for a designing world show. And maybe we'll see them again later in the talks, because I think it's been great fun and very interesting to hear their views.
And thank you to Cassie, but I don't know whether Cassie and Nora ended up live streaming, but we have recorded this, so this will be on the Seraphim channel, so if you want to share it with any friends or the opposite, share it with people you don't like and make them listen to us for an hour, whichever
We're
works.
comfortable with both, yeah.
Yeah, we can cope with both. Okay.
Thank you for having us. It's always fun.
It's great fun, and it was lovely to talk to you both. And thank you to the audience. There will be more talks. Watch the blog, and hopefully they'll be interesting, and you'll want to come along. And
we'll do the draw. We've got to consolidate the names from the radar over the last hour, and then we'll do the draw, and we'll be in touch with the person that's won, but we'll probably announce it on our Seraphim Facebook page as well. So you want to follow our page, I'm sure Nora will drop the page into local so you can follow us if you've got a Facebook account.
that would be cool. So we can find out who won and then go and beat them up, because they're not me.
I can assure you it definitely, there are a few people in this room it won't be. Because I don't mean that horribly, they're Seraphim staff, and you, staff.
I know.
And it won't be AJ now. I'm sorry, AJ.
Oh, harsh.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Thank you so much. And we'll see you we'll see you all again soon, I hope.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I was going to ask, are there not the bars this year that you could buy at RFL?
I'd forgotten the bars. There don't seem to be, do there?
No.
Is Kerry in the audience?
If anyone would like a Team Dell shirt, please IM me.
Oh, for goodness sake. Yeah, if you want a Team Dell shirt to make her feel better, please IM her. Generally, it helps me because she's less of a bitch if she's feeling loved.
Oh my god. I know, here's Nora being all profesh. Follow us, guys. Follow us. And I'm like, who wants a shirt?
Frank Dell, have we invested in a Seraphim shirt? No, just a Team Dell one.
We did have a Seraphim shirt for a minute.
Do you know the irony of that Team Dell shirt is that I made it before I joined
Who did I
Seraphim.
tell? Cassie, was it you? Who I said she's going to point out that I made it? Nora? I can't remember. No. Team Nora, no.
Yeah. Bless.
Team Jenny Kathy.
Now that's possible.
The Team Nora shirts would bang. Yeah, everyone hand out your swag. Except Team Dell is not swag. It's a true team, and we support one another.
She says, as she's trying to garner people.
Streaming?